Rupert's Royal Roundup.
Hello, Rupert.
Morning, all.
Good morning. Where are you now?
In his study, eating his breakfast.
You're absolutely right, Renee. Here it is. A little bit of cornbread left, but I thought I'd better not eat it because I might cough my way through this roundup. So
Well,
you're absolutely right. I've got my cup of coffee nearby. So you're absolutely spot on. It's breakfast time in the Bell household.
Well, delighted for you, Rupert. Breakfast 9:30 is very late on the
Sunday
Well, I guess
breakfast,
it's
yeah.
Sunday, yes, that's fine. So, very busy week for the royal family,
Yeah.
of course. The King... we talked about this, actually, breaking with sort of protocol and announcing that he was having this prostate operation. He, I believe, is still in the London clinic, is he?
Yes, he is, yes. The Queen visited him yesterday. Spent the night in the London clinic. Not sure when he's going to come out. Obviously, he's just being monitored, but I'm sure he will be getting pretty restless and want to get back out of the hospital. No one wants to stay there any longer than you want to, and he is definitely someone who wouldn't want to be cooped up in the London clinic any longer than necessary. So hopefully he might be coming out today, but look, I'm not privy to the medical news on that front, but I think, hopefully the Queen did seem to say that he's fine and doing well, so there's no reason for anything other than expecting him out pretty soon. But it has actually been probably quite good what he's done in a way. It's sort of done the deflection away from Kate, put a spotlight on her, and hopefully she will be out later on this week, because they were talking 10 to 14 days. Well, we're getting now into that period where people would be expecting her to be released at some stage. But again, we're not privy to any of the information as to what she actually had done.
Just going back to the King, we expect him to be discharged pretty soon, I think. We don't know what kind of procedure he had, but we think it's a
minimally invasive.
Yeah, it's a simple procedure. Also, there's no sense of any constitutional problem because, of course, the red boxes would be delivered to him at his hospital.
Yeah, and he's not going to change his routine because, he can sit up in bed if he's feeling good and read away. That's all he's got to do. So, and he's not one who's going to be saying, I'll save that for another day. But obviously at the weekend there may be less expectations of him having to be permanently glued to his red boxes. So I'm sure in terms of his constitutional role, there is no real change at all. It's just obviously the location of where he's doing it.
And just going back to Kate, we have been very keen not to speculate on what is wrong with her. But she has been there a while. That would indicate that this is quite a serious problem. The days of staying in hospital for 2 weeks, they're pretty much over because we try not to do that. Is there any sense of how she is?
I don't know. They've been very keen to make sure there is nothing getting out there, and quite rightly so, because patient confidentiality is an important aspect of everybody's life. And she is, despite, okay, she may be in the public domain because her role as the Princess of Wales, but she should be afforded the same luxury as anybody else when it comes to matters medical, as you would agree, I think, wholeheartedly. So, yes, people are inevitably going to speculate. That's why I say it's been probably, the speculation has been dampened by the King going onto the front foot and talking about his issues, which has highlighted that and in a very positive effect, whilst deflecting the sort of attention away from Kate and allowing her, without the sort of feeding frenzy, speculating on her condition. And fingers crossed that she will come out this week and be able to continue her recovery, which is, it meant that she will go back home, but we won't expect her to do any public duties for the next couple of months until after Easter, as she continues her recuperation from whatever condition she is suffering from.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I also think about the children. She's a mum at the end of the day, and they'll be worried about their mum in hospital. And, of course, we need to remember that. It's interesting, actually. Someone, Terry in Birmingham's just messaged me on a note that I actually had a conversation about this week in the green room, actually, before I did Talk Today, or after I did Talk Today on Friday. So isn't it interesting how the parlance has changed? Because, of course, the Queen is actually the Queen Consort, but you said Queen, we're all saying Queen.
It says Queen in this article.
It says Queen in the article, and Terry says she will never be Queen, in my mind. It was never supposed to be this way. Just very interesting, isn't it? We're very easy to change our minds and forget.
Well, no, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm prepared to be shot down, but I think in all essences, the Queen Consort bit has been dropped because it's confusing.
But who dropped it?
Well, the royal family would have dropped it.
But they didn't tell us they were dropping it.
Yeah,
Did they tell us?
I need more breakfast. That's called deflecting that particular question, David. So, you see, the idea, yes, when it first came about, he was referred, the Queen was referred to as the Queen's Consort. But I think for just ease, everyone just refers to her as the Queen. So it's not actually considered. You know, yes, maybe there will always be people who don't see her in her situation for whatever reason, but she's out there. She is the Queen. She is the King's wife, and she is incredibly loyal to him. And there she has been visiting, which is, in a sense, a little unusual because you didn't actually see the Queen going to the hospital maybe to visit Prince Philip, or vice versa. Whenever they were in hospital, it always was done with a sort of stiff upper lip. Get on with it.
Well, there was another story, wasn't there, saying that actually, you know, we know he's frugal. Actually, aren't they in the same hospital? And the reason for that was to reduce the security cost.
Well, that I can't tell you. Basically, presumably, yes, the security, but presumably also the facilities in the London clinic, which I imagine are quite good, is able to cope with whatever is wrong with Kate, and obviously the condition that the King is suffering from. So the London clinic, and to have basically it all under one roof, is actually
some responsibility though for the clinic.
Well, yes. Well, I imagine, but I think they're used to it. You know, they do know, and it is the favoured sort of hospital of choice. Okay, there is the Edward VII Hospital in southwest London for officers. So that is often used, but obviously to have two people, it would add an extra dimension to the security level. So clearly, this is a convenient way of dealing with it, but hopefully, and I'm sure both are, getting the best possible treatment.
Indeed. I worked at the King Edward VII.
It's round the corner to London Clinic. It's very close.
Yeah. A long time ago, I remember running there in the middle of the night to look after some of the patients over there. Anyway.
You were the RMO.
Just to our favourite characters, Harry and Meghan. I talked about this in the week on the talk. Here they are in Jamaica. What on earth are they doing? The Queen's life work was the Commonwealth. Jamaica obviously are not keen on that idea. Harry and Meghan, do you know, just when I can try and forgive them, I can't.
Well, they've gone off, obviously, to go and see the Bob Marley premiere, and obviously they've flown down in a private jet with the chief executive of Paramount Pictures, and they go down, and fine, he's been a great supporter of Jamaica over the years. So it's not a total surprise, but clearly there are elements of them showing that, you know, they want to be out there, they want to show their relevance, and, you know, they are building their own brand. And being with the chief executive of Paramount is probably a good way of trying to curry favour as they look to cement their future in a non-royal environment. But clearly, yes, the Jamaican link is clearly a little bit more controversial than it should be, you know, and created something around it. And obviously is frustrating again for the royal family, but let's be honest, they do accept, the royal family, that the Commonwealth and the makeup is going to change. They're not naive, so whatever Jamaica feel, the royal family are not going to stand in their way if they want to set aside.
But that's one thing. It's quite another for them to be standing there, I think. Also, doesn't it just sort of stick some fingers up at the late Queen and the rest of the royal family, doesn't it?
Well, let's be honest, Meghan and Harry have been doing that for the last few years. So, you know, it's just another example of them saying, well, we'll do our own thing and we don't care about the optics with regard to the royal family because we're no longer part of it.
It's also quite hypocritical of them, once again, to be flying to Jamaica to see a film.
Yeah, well, flying, yes, but in a private jet is where I think you're coming from in this particular instance. Yes, and, you know, sometimes they don't talk the talk, and that, I think, is something that, again, is levelled at them. And, of course, they were staying, by all accounts, in a fabulous resort where one of the rooms, I think, the room they were staying, you pay well over $4,000 for a night.
I doubt they paid.
I somehow doubt they paid either. And but I'm not, I can't be 100% sure about that. But again, Mr. Paramount, I'm sure, saw this as good publicity for the film about Bob Marley.
Yeah, let's move on and talk about Royal Association, shall we? There's some controversy here.
Oh, well, yes, because particularly with the King and also Harry as well, because Harry's charity in Africa, there are bullying allegations surrounding it, which Harry, by all accounts, is pretty angry about and wants to be investigated in I think it's in Congo. And yes, the King, with the British Asian Trust, a singer there, has been accused of bullying a member of a group there. So the problem is for the King and the royal family, they want to do all this good work, but occasionally things go wrong and reflect badly on their involvement. Now, we know the King is very keen to reflect the fact that this is an inclusive country and bring all corners, different cultures together, and he's very proactive in that department. But clearly, something like this just creates a little bit of problem for the royal family, and this person has been photographed with the King as well, you know, in sort of royal occasions and cocktail parties or whatever it is. So again, it just creates a bit of a problem for the royal family. They've got to be very careful with whom they mix, but it's not easy because clearly there's how do they know what everybody is doing? And they're with the best intentions that the King will have, Harry will have with his charities in Africa, and they are with good intentions. Clearly, some things have gone slightly wrong in these two cases.